Anyway, now for Potatoe, Dave's second question. Is God dead? Well, halfway between sleep and awake here. My body has only been asking me like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and then like when I get to work, end up being exhausted. I lost that shit. I guess because the other night I don't know. I went to sleep later in the night and then woke up in the middle of the night. Crazy. Anyway, well, I think I'm just gonna wing this one. Kind of a strange question because, I mean, implies kind of a hyperbolic, I guess, statement. Because, I mean, God, how can God be dead? I mean, Jesus came, he was God, he died, but, I mean, come on. You know, he didn't really, it wasn't like an eternal death. It was, I don't know. He's God, you know. But I guess his death isn't, final for anyone, but, well, I guess to our culture in many ways, how it's dead, but then, he's so secular or whatever, and you got Nietzsche's poem, which is pretty provocative and I think to me profound. It was just like God has become all but dead to us, really, is what it's saying. I mean, God is dead. I mean, we believe in God has died, basically what it's saying. And that's true. I mean, people kind of lost the context of God, and I mean, I might not be wording this right now, but anyway, society and relationship to God, everything. Society's kind of lost its relation to God. I mean, we lost as a society. I mean, we try to sometimes to restore it, individually, and work on my individual relationship to God, but society's lost its connection to God, and thus it's almost impossible for an individual to try to find his own path. I mean, of course, we're doing it together when we're finding our own path, really, but I'm rambling. But anyway, it's almost impossible to find a real vital relationship with God when your whole society is disconnected. Of course, for centuries, I mean, you think about it, people didn't really have a vital relationship with God. It's just kind of, well, I have a relationship with my religion, and I think it was very communitarian, but I guess we've lost whatever we had. And people are so willing to deny God's existence, so there's less likely to be a relationship there. And I find it amazing that, well, an atheist would just so readily, they act like the existence of God is absurd when they try to disprove it scientifically, when really the only logical, well, I don't know, but I mean, there is physical evidence for God, but I mean, the root of it, the heart of it is in, well, first of all, in your heart, then there's philosophical basis, which is even stronger than any experience, like any empirical evidence you could have, because well, for instance, I've used this argument before. It's like, and I was criticized. I don't think people got it, but basically, you look at me, you observe me. How do you know I exist? Like, well, I can see your movements, your body, everything. How do you know I exist as a person? How do you know I'm not just some not inanimate, but just some impersonal object? I mean, what separates me, or what gives you a feeling that I am a person apart from just some? How do you interact with me? How do you communicate? And you don't you perceive that there's something more to me than just this outer, even just what a brain can account for. I mean, I guess if you're working from a mechanistic worldview, you can deny that, but how can you deny that in your everyday life? You say you never fall in love with anyone. You never say you never gotten hurt over something somebody said. I mean, you boil all that down just to chemicals in the brain. So basically, it's like, what makes me me? Even if it is all just the chemicals, everything. What makes that me? And then, translating that to, you expect to just find God empirically, just purely not. I mean, if you didn't have a personality, how would you perceive that I did? So when you're looking for God, you're just going to look out in space, try to find some particular collection of gases. We're trying to find heaven out there. I mean, how are you really going to find God that way? You're not. The perception of God starts in your heart, and it also, in this philosophical world. That's why we can't lose that. I mean, we have to. We haven't really advanced far in the empirical way, making a good case. I mean, people have tried and are trying, and we're kind of far behind there. But anyway, I say all that to say, people. I mean, because the church. I feel like the church has failed as far as revealing God in this way. They didn't try to really prove the existence of God. They didn't try to really demonstrate in all the different varied ways that can happen. And really, it's a failure of the religious world. There are a lot of people just weren't really interested in that. I think they're so interested in upholding the traditions or this agenda or that agenda. So we got what we asked for. I mean, insofar as we were, actually pursuing something, we got it. I mean, if people were pursuing their agenda, I'm not going to say they succeeded necessarily. They did succeed in a sense, but then we see that the world today's not religious, so they didn't really succeed over time,